at 4:30 as well. But meantime, Rangers, listen, surely even the most hard-boiled Celtic fan would have to say congratulations. They were thrown on the scrappy Rangers years ago. They were sent all the way to the bottom of the Scottish Football League, and they've worked their way back up to the top with a little bit of quality. It's taken an Englishman to resurrect Scottish football, but Mark Warburton has done that job. Rangers back in the top flight, not before time as well. They're about to embark on a mission, Glasgow Rangers, to save Scottish football. And you know what's really interesting about it? There's so many Celtic fans in denial that this is the case. I'm sorry, it is. There's very little interest. The fact that Aberdeen are, 5 points behind Celtic at this moment in time, and people are saying this is one of the most exciting seasons when we all know what the outcome's going to be. I think that says it all. So to have Rangers back gives you an old firm clash. It might be a little while before they can actually challenge for the title. We don't know. But at least the old firm clashes are back. At least there's some big crowds coming back because there were 50,000 at Ibrox last night for a championship game. So let's get this straight. Rangers are about to save Scottish football.
I agree. And, I've been privileged to go to one of the old firm games. I know what it's like there. The atmosphere, it is electric. I've never, played in Newcastle, Sunderland games, Portsmouth, Southampton games, Liverpool, Everton. I've watched games, derby games. There's nothing like an Old Firm game, and I mean that. As a neutral, being there, watching it, it is unbelievable, the atmosphere. And they go together, them two teams, like Tom and Jerry, Morecambe and Wise. When they're apart, they're never as good when they're apart. And I'm afraid that's the stark reality of they need each other in the same league, playing against each other, if it's 4 times a season or whatever it is. They need to feed off each other to make Scottish football and get it back on the map, because Rangers have been on a journey, Aid. And what I like is the Rangers fans at the time when they were throwing out the league, down the divisions, they said, OK, we'll take it, but we'll come back a better club, a more honest club, and we'll come back and come through the divisions and earn the right to get back to where they were thrown out. And they've done that, and you've got to take your hats off to them, it's to get them back and Mark Warburton and get them back in that league. Not a big budget neither, really, compared to other teams. They're there. They're back alongside their rivals Celtic, and they've got a semi-final this weekend as well.
Yeah, it's
just a taste
on Sunday,
of what's to come.
Yeah, I'm going to that game as well. I'm really looking forward to it. I think I'd love to pick the brains of Celtic fans here and how they genuinely feel about it. I mean, I know a lot of them have this nonsense about, it's not really Rangers. Rangers folded, and this is a new club. It's Rangers. Okay, so, I mean, if you want to go down that road, feel free, but you've got to come up with a really good explanation for it. This is Rangers. They play at the same ground. It's the same fans. It's a club with the same history. So deal with it. Rangers are back. It is nothing else but Rangers coming back to resurrect the old firm and resurrect Scottish football. What I found really weird last night was Celtic drew 0-0 at Dundee, and after the game, Ronnie Dyler was asked about Rangers being promoted, because obviously by then they knew. And you've never seen a manager interviewed about something so important to football in that country be so bored by the question. Now, he either does not get Scottish football at all, he doesn't understand the old firm, or he's actually bricking it, because he is really scared he's about to be found out, and his club's about to be found out as well. I would imagine that quite a few Celtic fans are a little bit concerned about it. The great thing that Rangers have got is momentum. As they come back up through the divisions, they've got momentum. They now know how it feels to be promoted. And whenever people talk to me about supporting a lower division side, and they support, I don't know, an Arsenal or a Man United or whatever, I say you will never know the joy that promotion brings. And it is pure joy. You'll have experienced it as a player.
Twice.
Fantastic. And Rangers fans have had that. So they've had a better experience than Celtic fans have ever had.
But it's been a learning curve for Rangers fans as well, because, like I said, they took it on the chin. They said, OK, let's get the club and rise from the ashes, and they've done that. They've been to grounds, the fans, which they would never have been to down them lower leagues, and they've come up. They should be a bit more humble now, and they're back where they belong with their rivals Celtic. And I'm sorry, no one gives a monkeys about Scottish football. Seriously, I mean, as a talking point, till them two are back together, and then the rest feed off them two being together back in the league.
What I would say is I did actually start to really take an interest in Scottish football when a couple of years ago when St Johnstone had won the cup. They had a couple of good players and they were playing some really good stuff. Dundee United's youngsters were coming through. They were fantastic. But then the moment that Celtic basically bought the good players from the other Scottish Premiership clubs, I just thought, what's the point? What is the point of that? I mean, something needs to be done about that situation. But that at that point, Dundee United were looking good. They looked like they might pose a challenge to Celtic. So what Celtic did was they went and bought Armstrong, bought Mackay-Steven. All of a sudden, Dundee United were weaker. Celtic was stronger, and it was a no contest again.
But Celtic haven't even been that good.
No.
To win the league, because you've seen them, the exploits in Europe have been embarrassing.
Yeah, they've been bang average.
Under Darlell, and I'm surprised he's still there, but look, I think we will start talking about Scottish football again, with the two of them being there, and then the other clubs will come into it in and around them again. I mean, the only interest I've got up there was Mark McGee's gone back to Scottish football. I mean, Gordon Strachan took over the national team, and seeing the way Gordon wanted his team to play, and that's it, I'm afraid. There's nothing else interests me. And let's be honest. I'm just being honest.
But now, old firm
I'm interested again. Yeah.
08717333344. Let's take a couple of calls. Loads of people want there, so you can join in as well. Let's speak to Phil, who's a Cali Thistle fan, I think. How you doing, Phil?
Hi, Phil.
Yeah, I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, good. What's your point, mate?
I'm a bit offended, really, by the point that Rangers are apparently saving Scottish football.
Mm-hmm. Why?
So what are they saving it? What are they saving us from? Since they've been demoted, 6 different clubs have won cup competitions. Every club in the top flight has made a profit. Out with Hearts, who obviously went down last year and came straight back up again. And yet, through Rangers' mismanagement, they got demoted through their own fault. And apparently, they're there to save the rest of us when every other team has progressed since they've been down.
Yeah, but Phil, I mean, TV rights are out of pittance. People don't want to watch Inverness, I'm afraid. They want to watch Celtic and Rangers.
So, as journalists...
Down here, Phil. I'm talking down south of the border, obviously.
Yeah. I mean, but then do you say that about, League One in England, Championship, these local sides?
No, because it's more competitive, Phil, down here. It's more competitive. I mean, Celtic have been pants, and yet they're still going to win that league.
Yeah, and Rangers have been embarrassed every time they've played a top division side since they went down.
Is that right? Hang on. Have they got to the Scottish Cup semi-final, beating a couple of Premier League teams on the way? I think they have, haven't they?
Yeah, this season they have, to be fair, but in the last 3 seasons, they've had the second biggest budget after Celtic, and yet they've gone out every cup competition at an early stage.
Well, why do you think that is? It's because they're playing Championship sides week in, week out, and they were beating them. Before that, it was League One sides, so they're used to that level of competition. So it was a bit of a culture shock playing a Scottish Premiership side. And clearly, Scottish Premiership sides are better than Scottish Championship sides, generally speaking. So there will be a culture shock. It will be difficult for them to adjust. But I tell you what, this season against Scottish Premier League sides, it looks like Rangers have made that adjustment. And you can say, as an Inverness fan, you staying in the Scottish Premiership and, by your standards doing well, winning a cup yourselves, St Johnstone winning a cup too. Yeah, absolutely, I get all of that. But longer term, over the whole course of things, nobody's challenged Celtic. This is a terrible Celtic side, by the way. Nobody's challenged them for the league. And that's what we're talking about, having a proper domestic league competition over the course of the whole season, and that simply hasn't happened, and it's about time Scotland had that back. If that isn't to come with Rangers returning this coming season, then at least the Old Firm games will be back, and all of a sudden there's global interest. If you think they're having Celtic against Inverness, or Celtic against, Dundee last night, if you think that's of global interest, then I'm sorry you're deluded. Celtic Rangers being back is exactly what Scottish football needed. 087 Nottingham Forest, and the Rangers manager Mark Warburton told the Breakfast Show on TalkSPORT that promotion back to the Scottish Premiership is just the start for Rangers.
We're in a good place right now. We're building a young squad, and we've achieved the first goal, which is getting the club back in the top flight, which is great. But now we have to make sure we keep moving forward. And there is a lot of work to be done. You have to be honest in that front. And what we have to do is keep building. If we can keep doing that, moving in the right direction, we'll be okay. What we can't do is take our foot off the gas.
Drive on TalkSPORT with Sky Sports. I've got to give you this tweet here. This is from Fraser, who says, why can't you say Rangers got liquidated and that's how they ended up in the bottom tier? That's the truth. I've just retweeted it. Yeah, we know what happened, but if you're trying to say that this isn't Rangers that have just been promoted, do you realise how stupid that sounds? And who the hell do you think you are, anyway, to deny a great club, its rich history, its incredible fan base, and the fact that it actually exists. Who the hell do you think you are to deny all that? You can't deny all that. And if you do try to deny all that, you just sound like a really scared Celtic fan. 08717 223344. Calls to this number will cost 13 pence a minute plus your provider's access charge. Let's speak to Ewan, a Hibs fan. Hibs have been pipped in the Scottish Championship, going to go through the playoffs. How you doing, Ewan?
Hi, Ewan.
I'm fine, mate. How are you?
Yeah, all good. Are you confident about the playoffs or not?
That's a different conversation. Not confident at all. The last years I've been a Hibs fan, to be honest.
Tell you what, your winner last night was an absolute cracker, wasn't it? Wow.
It was an cracker. It was.
Wonderful goal.
It was indeed.
What's your thoughts on what we're talking about here, Rangers?
Well, I'm going to ask you a question. I'm a big fan of yours, but are you at the wind-up?
I like the first bit. No, I'm not on a wind-up. Which bit's a wind-up?
Right, okay, well, first of all, right, I know you're saying that what gives people the right to say, like, I'm just pointing out the fact that Rangers were liquidated, and that is not Rangers, in their current form, that is not Rangers.
So what is it? Which team has just been promoted to the Scottish Premiership?
The Rangers, Nuco, which were created in 2012 after they went bankrupt. They got liquidated. They didn't go to the bottom division because they were demoted.
So why would you, as you're a proud fan of Hibs, right? Now, if hang on a second.
I'm just more or less fuck, but
hang on. If the same thing happened to Hibs, and it would be no fault of yours, it'd be the fault of owners, and you can't control what they're doing. If the same thing happened, and people tried to deny the fact that you supported Hibs, they're trying to tell you support another team. If somebody tried to deny Hibs' rich history, how would you feel about that as a football fan? Why would football fans turn against each other on a subject like this? It's ridiculous.
Why didn't the Rangers fans save the club like Hearts fans did? Why didn't they all chip together and save the club and put money into the club? Hearts did that, and they're a lot smaller club than Rangers.
Well, that's probably why they could afford to do it. I don't know, to be honest. But you changed the subject there because you've changed the subject there, haven't you? I mean, I'm asking the question: Why would you try to deny Rangers fans their proud history of their club? They support a club. They're proud of that club, like you are of your club. Why would any other fan try to deny that?
I'm not trying to deny them that, but what I'm trying to say is they're deluded, and you're deluded by saying it's the same club. It's not the same club. That's a fact.
It is Rangers. Still Rangers. You've got to say it's still Rangers. Whatever, whatever you want to call it.
If you want to call them the Rangers, then go for it. But, I mean, it just sounds a little bit eggy, mate, you know.
Well, listen, I wish them all the best. I don't have a problem with them, right? But here's a point I want to make as well. You would think they'd learn their lesson from their history. They spent all that money. They spent the money on stupid finance fees and transfer fees and wages on players they couldn't afford, and they cheated, right? Cheated to win trophies. That is cheating, however you look at it. And they're going to do the exact same again. Everyone's bumping their gums. This station, the newspapers up here, all the Rangers are back, and they're going to spend loads of money and challenge Celtic. You think they'd learn the lesson the first time? Why are they not learning from their past mistakes?
Well, it's a bold prediction. They're going to make exactly the same mistake again. I doubt they are going to make that mistake.
That's why the Rangers fans at the time wanted them thrown out, in regards of starting from scratch again and doing it properly and taking their punishment and coming through the divisions to get back to the run as a proper club. I love that saying, bumping you. Everyone's bumping their gums up here. Great saying, you. I'm going to use that one.
Let's speak to a Rangers fan. Grant is with us on the show. How you doing, Grant?
Hi, Grant.
Adrian, Quinny, how you doing, lads?
Yeah, very good.
What's your thoughts?
Thanks for having me on. Just quickly, actually, I like your perspective on it. I'm not blowing smoke, but I like your perspective because there was a national broadcaster north of the border this morning saying that, the question they posed was, should Rangers be welcome back? So I like this perspective what you've got on it in terms of have we saved Scottish football? To your question, I think it's a bit profound. I'd love to think we did. What I will say is that we have contributed vastly to the fabric of Scottish football for well over a century. We are the establishment club. People don't like it, and that's fair enough. That's their perspective on it. We've certainly come through the mill the past 4 years. I think the bigger question is, what are the SFA going to do to save Scottish football? Because we're back now. We're on a financial footing which hopefully will see us through the next decade and beyond, and we won't be mismanaged and we won't be pilfered by a pair of charlatans like White and Green in the future, and we're in safer hands now. But I compare it to the situation where we could afford, despite the Hibs fan there, we could afford top English players and top European players before the EBT debate even came up in 2002. So we could compete, but not now. This is no slight on Bournemouth, Norwich and Watford, they're on £100 million next year. We'll be lucky if we get 4 or 5 in a TV deal. Surely Scottish football is worth more than that as a marketable tool anyway. So that's my point on it.
I think it's a great point, Grant. And I think the other point on that is that the reason why, you're right, Quinny, Celtic have declined. While Rangers have been away, Celtic have declined. They basically coasted. They've not needed to do anything. And they've been embarrassed. I mean, they have been truly embarrassed in European football, this season in particular. Truly knocked out of 2 European competitions before Christmas. That's an achievement. It's been incredible. And there's been nobody, and people are talking about, oh yeah, Cally Thistle made a profit. I mean, do you honestly think that has boosted Celtic in any way, has made them better on the pitch? The deterioration in Scottish football is phenomenal. And you know what? More than that, and Grant, you're right to point out the SFA need to do more. But more than that, I think the whole of Scottish football should just stand up, just pull their chairs back, stand up, and offer a round of applause to Rangers, who have gone down to the lowest tier of league football in Scotland. They have massively boosted the crowds of the likes of Elgin, Annan Athletic, Montrose, Berwick, Stenhousemuir, all those small clubs who have made a lot of money out of Rangers over the last few years. They have given a shot in the arm to lower league football in Scotland, and I hope they run with it, and I hope they take full advantage of it, those little clubs. And Rangers are back in the big time, and it is Rangers. If you want to call it the Rangers or Sevco or whatever you want to call it,
Sevco.
Fine. But Sevco, he's got a job on his hand. This, I'm afraid, this is Rangers, and you're gonna have to deal with it. And what you should do is enjoy it.
Yeah,
enjoy the fact they're back.
back.
What's wrong with you lot? Charles, a Celtic fan. What's up with you?
Hi, Charles.
No, up with me, mate. Right, I'm going to give you a few examples before I get my point. Is that all right?
Aye.
Basically, Hull FC done the exact same thing 20 years ago, Adrian, didn't
Correct,
they?
yep.
Hull Sharks, NFC.
Gateshead
How can
Thunder,
you
all
change
that.
your name? But nah, I'm only joking, mate, right?
No, but they
There'll
did. But
always
you're
be
right.
Rangers, of
But
course
it's a way of saving a great club.
Mate, they'll always be Rangers. Of course they will. But always. And I was lucky enough to get brought up in a split family. But here's a couple of points, right? Basically, I mean, you're going about the Scottish Premiership not being great. It ain't great. It hasn't been great for years and years and years. But Aberdeen are closer to Celtic than Spurs are to Leicester, mate. They've scored the same amount of goals and conceded virtually the same amount of goals. I mean, that just shows the Premiership thing.
Okay, Charles, let me ask you this question. You're right. Mathematically speaking, you're right. But do you think Aberdeen have got more of a chance of overturning Celtic than Tottenham have of Leicester? Genuinely.
Yeah, at the minute, yeah.
Oh,
After
come
last
on.
night, yeah.
You really being serious there? Do you
No,
so
yeah,
do you
I'm
think
serious, mate.
are you putting money on Leicester to win the league then? If you could put a bet on one,
I wish I had £1 million to do it today.
if you've got £1 million and you're told you can place one bet, it's either Leicester to win the league or Celtic to win the league. You go with Leicester. Are you sure?
Definitely would, mate.
Whoa.
Oh, God, easily. All day long, mate.
Absolutely. By the way, 6:30 is the head's gone. You are going to be in it, my friend. This is TalkSport.